Bob's telling bad jokes.
The brunette, because the blonde had to stop and ask for directions.
Okay, Bob, you've told this joke in some variation twice today, but who's counting? However, the pressure is on for President Obama to denounce the Occupy movement in light of escalating violence that includes attacks on police and suspected bomb plots. But will he? Let's take a listen to the president supporting the protesters earlier this week.
This is part of what NATO defends, is free speech and the freedom of assembly. That's what part of what America's about.
God,
Fox's Wendell Kohler tried to get an answer from White House spokesman Jay Carney yesterday.
The president has voiced support for the Occupy folks in the past to reach their goals. Did their actions in Chicago sour his support?
Well, I think you're making broad comparisons between different groups. What the president has said in the past is that he has understood the frustrations that Americans have about the failure, in particular, of Wall Street, in some cases, to well, because of obviously Wall Street's role in the financial crisis that helped precipitate the worst recession since the Great Depression.
I'm sorry. Let me erase that face I just made for a moment because
are we on there now?
Somebody's having a bad day. Yes, Bob, we are.
Okay.
Thanks for participating. So, Bob, I'm going to give you this question since you're very focused today. So, do you think that that was a bright spot in Jay Carney's career?
That's one I would put in my home videos and show my kids. Jay, on occasion, does wander a little bit. We have Dana PERINO, who was an excellent press secretary, having to sell some bad news. Jay, on the other hand, look, they're ducking away from Occupy Wall Street. Let me make the point over and over again. I support Occupy Wall Street. I think they're exactly right. There is an unlevel playing field in this country. The rich people make it, the poor people don't. It's as simple as that.
Okay, well, that's incorrect. Once again, I have to remind you that is erroneous. I'm going to go to Dana PERINO.
Well, my low light reel from the White House would be extensive and something that you guys could make fun of for days. So I don't want to comment on like that because sometimes you get a question where it's like, when you're answering it, you think like, what is the 3 days from now, what are they going to ask me? And I think that 3 months ago when Occupy Wall Street was all that and they were living in their REI tents and that was actually longer ago, I guess. Maybe it was in the fall. But when they were all supportive, now that it looks like a little bit like they're tarnished, they start to back away. And sometimes you don't have a good answer when you're doing it.
Well, I think it's time for Greg to talk about defecating.
Okay. You mean any kind? No. Here's the thing. You have to look. I'm beginning to sympathize with the Democrats at this point. You got to look at Occupy Wall Street as their abusive ex-husband. A couple of years ago, they were so much in love with him. Everything was peachy. He was so good looking. And now he's crazy. He's nuts, and they don't know what to do. And I'm saying, it's okay. You should have listened to me. I was your sympathetic next-door neighbor telling you, break up with Occupy Wall Street. He's bad for you. He's bad for you. If you only listened to me, Bob, we would never have these discussions.
Well, that's right, except that you did this around NATO, and NATO always has these protesters well before Occupy Wall Street.
Well, let's talk about the history of President Obama and Occupy Wall Street. About a year ago, he had that speech in Kansas, wherever the speech was. It was a class warfare speech in Kansas. At that time, he actually embraced the Occupy movement. Yeah. Around that time, he said they've been wronged, pointed a blame finger at people who were millionaires, billionaires, and corporate jet owners, and he embraced the Occupy movement. Now, all of a sudden, as bomb plots in Ohio, in Chicago sprout up from Occupy, he has to push back, but they have to push back carefully because these guys are funded by the unions.
No, they're not. They're funded by
SEIU is every one of their
They're funded by Bain Capital.
What are you talking about?
All right. Bob is now performing satire.
Well, no, he really is. This is, once again, from the Beckel Almanac. We'll be giving away a free copy, pages 1 through 10, at the end of the show. But coming up, take a look at this woman. She could be the first Republican African-American woman ever elected to Congress. You're going to learn more about Mia Love and why she is unlike any congressional candidate ever when we come back. Mia Love.
Mia Love.
Stay with me.